Got it. Amazing. Hi, everyone. I believe we're live now. Let me check. Yes. Hi. So oh my gosh, sorry, I hit the mic. Amazing. Hi, everyone. Wait a second. I believe we're okay, I can hear myself. That was weird. This is the first time I'm doing this with like an actual microphone where I can also have sound. I gotta stop hitting the mic. I'm so sorry. That's like annoying. So I felt called to pop on here and give you all a little update for Mars retrograde and also the partial solar eclipse that we have coming up in the sign of Scorpio. There's a new moon on October 25th that will be in Scorpio. And since the nodes of the moon, the north node and the south node, are in Taurus and Scorpio, moon transits to those signs will create either a partial or full eclipse. So that's what causes eclipses and that's how we're heading back into eclipse season. I believe this is the last eclipse in that Taurus Scorpio axis because the nodes of the moon will be moving out of Taurus and Scorpio. I want to say in March. I honestly haven't looked ahead yet at next year's astrology too much, so I don't know if that's the correct date that the nodes will be transiting into Aries and Libra and out of Taurus and Scorpio. But anyways, that's like getting ahead of ourselves. So the end of October, we have some big things coming up. Like I already mentioned, the new moon in Scorpio, that will be a partial solar eclipse because the south node is in Scorpio. And then 5 days after the new moon in Scorpio, on the 30th, we have Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which it will be for, I believe, October to January. So what is that? 3 months that Mars will be retrograde in Gemini. So this is kind of like a unique to this year retrograde because normally Mars doesn't go retrograde every year and it normally doesn't go retrograde for so long. So we're gonna today dive into what Mars retrograde will mean for your zodiac sign. And this is going to be based off your rising sign because I'm going to be looking at the chart and what house this will be affecting you in, which is based off your rising. So check your rising. You can also check your sun and your moon, your Venus. If that resonates with you, there might be more in-depth or more messages for clarity from those other signs as well. But this is going to be based off your rising. So yeah, let's get into it. I normally don't do anything on Wednesdays. I normally have like Wednesdays as my day off completely, but there's a few things that I needed to do today. And then I felt called to just do this. It was like, it's something that was exciting to me, right? Manifesting generator, have to do what's exciting. And the reason I take Wednesdays off, if you all haven't seen my video on this, I use astrology and human design a little bit to schedule out my weeks. So I only do some things on certain days. Like I only take one-on-one client sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays because Tuesdays are ruled by Mars and my Mars is in the 7th house, and Thursdays are ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in my 2nd house. So those are days where I give to the other. Those are days where I teach. Jupiter is all about philosophy, expansion, teaching, learning, wisdom, sharing wisdom and knowledge. So those are the 2 days that I take one-on-one sessions. And why? And like I said, Wednesdays I usually take off because Wednesdays are ruled by Mercury. My Mercury is in the 8th house, and the 8th house is generally, its energy is like just transformation and tiring inner process. So I usually take Sundays and Wednesdays for myself because they can be a little bit intense and I tend to be very tired, but Mercury just moved into Libra in my 1st house. So I'm just feeling more called on this Wednesday, this Mercury day today, to share and to talk and to teach. What else was I going to say about that? So I also use that, not only my natal chart to schedule out my week and do things on certain days, because that's when you'll have the most energy for that, right? Like if you have 8th house placements or 12th house placements and you try to do things on those days that those planets that you have in those houses rule, they're not going to be as productive. You're not going to have as much energy. But I also use the transits as well. Like I just mentioned, Mercury just went into my 1st house. So I'm feeling more communicative. I'm feeling like expressing myself more on this Mercury day than I normally do because I have Mercury in the 8th house. Hopefully that makes sense. My video goes into it more in depth. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's on my TikTok. It's also somewhere on YouTube. I think I called it like how to schedule your life using astrology or something like that. But anyways, let's get into what Mars retrograde will be for you. I am also going to be giving a horoscope based on the new moon as well. So I'll be tying in kind of both. So let's start with Aries Rising. Let me get my chart all set up because I just literally was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hop on now. And was not super prepared. Okay, so we're charts on Aquarius Rising. Let's move it to Aries Rising. Okay, so Aries Rising. This Mars retrograde will be in your 3rd house of communication, of short distance travel, of errands, of siblings, of really your close-knit community and friend group as well. So that will probably be going through a revamp. And to break it down back, let's start with the basics. Okay, so Mars is the planet of taking inspired action. Mars is the planet of our energetic expression. So your expression and how you're communicating, Aries, is probably going to be going through a revamp. And I did a blog post about Jupiter in Aries because Jupiter is currently in Aries and retrograde in Aries. When does it go direct? I feel like it goes direct here soon. End of November is when Jupiter goes direct. So Jupiter is currently retrograde in your 1st house, Aries, which is causing a revamp of your identity, of your sense of self, of like your body, and reevaluating all those things. So when a planet is in a sign and it goes retrograde in that sign, like we had Jupiter enter Aries in May, I believe, and then it went retrograde. And then it's going to leave retrograde and it's going to go back into Aries again. So those are 3 different phases of this transit. And the same thing is happening with Mars and Gemini. So we had Mars enter Gemini. It's been there for, I think, what was that, August 20th, like almost 2 months, a month and a half. And so that's like the initial phase of Mars and Gemini, right? This retrograde period is going to be a reassessment of everything that Mars and Gemini has brought us so far. So if you've been feeling more expressive, if you've been feeling like just wanting to get out there and socialize more and wanting to communicate yourself, wanting to express yourself more, wanting to express your ideas, wanting to express your curiosities, and wanting to like really approach life in a new way, in like a forward thinking way, right? In like a different way than you have before. During this Mars retrograde period, that's going to be going through a revamp, a reassessment, a slowdown, right? So you can really look at the ways that it has affected you so far. And if you want to keep moving forward in those same ways, or if you want to make some changes, which most of us probably will want to make a little bit of changes, right? To the way we've been taking action and the way we have been just jumping into things. Because with Mars and Gemini, it's like, things are moving so quickly, and especially like it's almost like our communication can't even catch up to how quickly things are moving in our lives. And with Mars going retrograde in Gemini, it's going to slow that down, right? So that we have the chance to reassess and reevaluate. So Aries, this is going to directly impact your communication and your friend group, the way you the things that you do on a daily basis that are a part of your like routine, the errands that you run, the places that you go, the people that you see, or the people that you talk to are all going through a revamp during this period. And also check what you have around, let's see, about 20 degrees, either Gemini or other air signs or other mutable signs, because this transit is going to impact those for you on a deeper level as an individual, right? Because this is just a general reading and horoscope for Aries risings. Obviously, this is going to differ and impact you as an individual in a different way, depending on what you have in your chart, in what signs and at what degrees, right? So this is what I teach in my AstroHD membership and in my school, more in depth in the school than in the membership. But this is what I teach, is how to look at this stuff on your own, and only need me as like a guide to give you a like just maybe a reminder of like, yeah, look at this is what to look for, and then you can make your own interpretations and your own meanings and consult your chart for guidance on your own without always needing to watch other people's videos. Although there's nothing wrong with that, I do it too. It's so much more empowering and powerful and impactful when you can do it for yourself. But anyways, that's a whole tangent that I feel like I go on inevitably, like every time I'm on video or do something, because that is my mission, is to teach you all how to use these systems and have these tools in your tool belt and not need to rely on anyone else to do this for you. I digress. So, communication will be a huge just focus for the next 3 months, Aries. And with this new moon, I almost said full moon, because we will have the full moon in Taurus on the 8th of November, which will be impacting your finances, your money, probably bringing in a lump sum or something of that nature, where you just feel more self-sufficient, you feel more independent in your resources and your financial situation. But this almost said full moon again. This new moon in Scorpio on the 25th is going to be in your 8th house, which you have been going through a lot of development, growth, transformation right now, and your relationships, your intimate connections are really showing that to you, as well as like maybe where you've been relying on other people's resources or support for certain things, especially as it comes to like money, or maybe even like you'll set intentions around paying off debt or paying people back, or just becoming more self-sufficient. Aries, I feel like, is a really big focus at this time, and what kind of stories you can tell yourself around that, and how you can reframe your mental space and your thought patterns to really fit this space and fit this energy that you're growing into, as opposed to just staying comfortable and what you're trying to get out of, right? So that is a big focus really from now until the end of the year for you, Aries. My nose just started running, so yeah, I mean, there's so much more I could go into. You just had Pluto go direct in your 10th house of career and reputation. So there's just so much coming in and shifting for you guys that it directly relates, like your career, your sense of self, your financial picture. It's all starting to come into fruition. And it might feel like your mental process or your communication or just like your social life is slowed down a little bit while Mars is retrograde, but don't let that affect your positive mindset. Don't let that affect who you know yourself to be and the ways that you're taking action, even though things might feel slower than normal. Don't let that hold you back from doing what feels good to you to do. Always follow your strategy and authority in human design, no matter what. So that's what I have for you, Aries. Taurus. Oops. Oh my gosh, I did not mean to do that. I just did something crazy. That's okay. I want to share my screen with you guys so you can see. I wish I could do like half and half. But anyway, so this is what we're working with. So, Taurus risings. This Mars retrograde will be in your 2nd house of finances, of money. You just had Pluto go direct in your 9th house of international travel, of higher learning, of spirituality. So anything that you were rethinking around any of those things is starting to come more into like, okay, direct external awareness. And you're really starting to apply those things, those inner transformations to your life. You're really starting to like embody the wisdom that you have learned over the past few months and even years. This new moon in Scorpio will be in your 7th house of relationships. So probably setting a intention around what type of relationship you want to have, or entering into a serious partnership, just really getting like serious and clear about your relationships and which ones you want to remain in versus which ones you want to kind of transition out of. There's a lot of release happening in this area of life for you. So just really trusting this process and trusting that the people that are just kind of like phasing out are meant to, and that will bring in people that are more aligned with you and your energy and where you're headed, right? All these transformations that you have been making and integrating and embodying, the people that are meant for you in this new kind of way of being that you've been stepping into will start to file in, and you will start to see that around this time. Depending on what degree your rising is in, this could also really affect like your sense of self and also help really solidify and just help like, what's the word? become more comfortable and become more rooted in the sense of self that you've been growing into over the past couple of years as you've had Uranus in your first house. There's been a lot of changes to your identity. There's been a lot of changes to your sense of self. And now those are really starting to become more solid. And it's probably your relationships that are helping that and supporting that change and that growth in the ways that you want to and the ways that you're moving into, which is really beautiful. And then with Mars going retrograde in your second house, there will probably just be some reassessments, reevaluations around money. Maybe money will come in like unexpectedly. And if you've been relying on other people for money, you'll start to cultivate this sense of like, no, I can create this for myself. This self-sufficient and like independent kind of attitude will start to come in and be a really major focus for you during this Mars retrograde period. It might also be a time where you're like, okay, I took action in this way to create self-sufficiency for myself, to create more of an income, to create and get more clear on my values and how I provide value to the world and my own like innate and individual sense of worthiness. And this retrograde period will be a reassessment of all of those things. Like, okay, you establish them, you set the framework for these new values and for this like worthiness and for what you're providing to the world. Because like the second house really at its core is like, what do you bring to the table? Like what resources, what value do you have that you provide to the world that's really going to make an impact? And that's also going to bring in money for yourself. So that's been a really big focus for you, Taurus. And now this time is all about, okay, I got clear on what that is. I took some action towards it. Now things are slowing down a little bit so that I can reassess and reevaluate. Was that really the way I want to move forward? Are there more things I want to do? Are there more things I want to share, to create, to impact, right? And bring in more financial support through that, the changing of that or the reevaluation of that, and the reevaluation really of the ways that you've already taken action towards doing that. So that's what this Mars retrograde period feels like for you. And really the end of 2022, Taurus, is like, okay, what are the ways that I want to provide value? What are the ways that I really want to get clear and firm on, this is how I show up, this is who I am, this is what I teach, this is what I share, this is how I provide value, this is like, you know, as a worthy person, this is what I bring to the table as an individual, as a unique person who is unlike anyone else. You know, that's what you bring, is you. And it's this time is about getting really clear on what that is and how you can like truly be embodied in that and bring it to the table and bring in more financial success for yourself. Big things coming. I feel like once Mars goes direct in terms of your money. Actually, I know a really good friend that she's a Taurus rising and in her Saturn return right now. And I feel like if you also have Saturn and Aquarius and you're a Taurus rising, like the end of January is going to be like your freaking glow up. Like it's going to be like bigger than you probably imagined it ever would be. So that is something really beautiful and amazing to look forward to. Okay, let's go to Gemini risings. So Gemini risings, this will be in your first house, this Mars retrograde. Actually, let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb just in case. And this new moon in Scorpio will be in your sixth house of work, of health, of routine, of the well-being and the health of your physical body. So the end of October, in the next 6 months, right? Because new moons begin 6-month cycles, will be a really big focus on, are you really taking care of your body in the way that it needs? Like, do you really feel good in your body? Do you really feel good in what you're doing to make money, in the ways that you're working, and the ways that you're spending time for yourself, and the ways that you're taking care of your body, the way that you're feeding your body, the way that you're moving your body? Does that really feel good to you? Because that's going to directly impact your mental health. And if one or both are off, you got to reassess. And so that's what this new moon in Scorpio will be about for you, Gemini, is setting intentions around the way you want to really take care of your health in a new way. And Mars retrograde in your first house is going to be a reevaluation and a reassessment of the ways you've been expressing who you are, the ways of being and the ways of like your unique individuality you've been stepping into and how you've been expressing that to the world. And really, I'm seeing for you, Geminis, it's like not necessarily about who you are when you're alone, but this is more about like who you are when you're around people. Like when you go out into the world, like are you presenting yourself in a certain way to be liked, or are you presenting yourself in a way that's like, this is who I am and I don't like necessarily care if people like it, because I know me just being me is going to attract people that do like it. And yes, it might deter people that don't, but that's, you know, whatever, that's fine. They're not meant for me in the first place. So I'm not going to act like someone I'm not to just get everyone's approval that's not founded on anything real. So that feels like a big focus for you, Gemini, during this retrograde. There might be a little bit of tendency of like frustration or aggression when it comes to like yourself, or there might be like just friction in terms of like your social sphere. Like there might just be some arguments that come up or things that happen that's like, because you're really standing in who you are, like, and because you've really done a lot of growth and change in that department over the last 2 to 3 years, you're really starting to see like, no, this is who I am. And I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to embody that. I'm going to own who I am. And like, no one can tell me who I am. No one can tell me how I get to be, because I'm the only one that can determine that and that can show up as me, right? And that might cause a little bit of friction. That might cause a little bit of tension or conflict between the people that have been in your life that expect you to be a certain way, or the people that only know you in a very surface way. And then they're like, oh my gosh, who are you all of a sudden? You know, that's kind of like the energy that I'm feeling for you guys. That might come up November-ish, or maybe like around the holidays. Like if you go home to visit family, you might kind of see the ways that you've changed so vastly and the ways that they're expecting you to be that's not in alignment with who you are anymore, which is really freaking cool. And I want you to congratulate yourself for the growth that you've done and the change that you stepped into, because it's really beautiful and it's huge. And yeah, that feels, as always, there's so much more I can go into for you, Gemini Risings, but that feels complete for now. So enjoy the rest of your 2022, and I hope you have a wonderful New Year's into 2023. But I'll probably see you before then, so because I do these like at least every 2 weeks. Okay, if not every month. Let's go now. Cancer Risings are next. I'm gonna plug in my laptop. Also, if you're watching live, comment your rising sign. Comment your rising sign. And if I've already done it, how it resonated with you. Okay, Cancer Rising. Wow, Mars has been in your 12th house. This new moon in Scorpio will be in your 5th house. So attuning yourself more to your passions, your creativity. Maybe some of you, if you are in a relationship or want to enter into a relationship or want to like get serious about having children, that may be a focus for you at this time at the end of October with this new moon. You may be releasing a lot of blocks or stagnancy around having children or around your creativity, and then like connecting with your inner child. That's what I was looking for. That's a big focus for you this time. So it's either you're putting and setting intentions towards having a family and creating children, or nurturing a greater relationship and connection with your inner child, and really tapping back into that just kid in you that was like innocent and fun and just like intuitive and knew what you wanted to do, right? And knew what you like loved to do and just did it all day and didn't care like what anyone thought of it. You were just creating for the sake of creating and the sake of doing what you love. I feel like that's getting a revamp during this time, Cancer, and will be a focus for you of the next 6 months of like, how do I want to express my creativity more? How do I want to spend more time connecting to like what I love to do as a kid and bringing that into my adult self and adult life? It's funny this is coming up for you because I literally I was walking down the stairs and I had this insight, like I'm house sitting for a friend right now. And I just love like being domestic. I just love playing house. And I literally said that to myself. I was like, I love playing house. Like that's like I just had this flashback to me as a kid. Like, I love to play house. I love to like play cooking, right? I love to like clean and just like do householdy things. And that is so Cancer. Like, even if, you know, you don't love to do that as a Cancer, like it just goes to show you that what we love to do as a kid, like stays with us. And if we can connect with that and reconnect with that, if you may have lost it a little bit, that's going to change your life. That's going to change your trajectory of your life and really bring more joy and fun and ease and passion into what you're already doing. And that's really the focus of this time, I feel, for you, Cancer, as well as connecting greater to your spirituality with Mars being in your 12th house. It's like, okay, how can I connect greater to source, God, the universe, right? How can I cultivate a meditation practice or learn Reiki to like heal myself, or practice mindset work or mindfulness, right? That all of these are 12th house arena things. And maybe even some past life healing too, and past life regression to really like heal from those wounds that were inflicted in other lives that you've had, so that you don't carry that with you in this life, and that it doesn't have like, that you don't repeat the same pattern, that you actually grow from it, is a big focus for you right now, Cancer. And I feel like this retrograde period will really bring like a reassessment of that and a re-evaluation of the ways you have been caring for your mental health and like your spiritual body as well. And maybe even that's related to your physical body too, because anything that affects one house is going to affect the house opposite it, and like in that axis, right? So there might also be a focus for you, Cancer, on like what you're eating and your diet, and your, not like dieting, because diets are bullshit, but like your diet, like what you're eating, maybe aligning with your human design determination, your digestion and human design, maybe just re-evaluating your health, the health of your physical body, the health of your mental body, the health of your spiritual body, right? Your connection to spirit, your connection to your higher self, your inner child, just like really connecting and living less in like the stress go autopilot mode. Like this time is really about reconnecting with yourself and reconnecting with all of the energy that's around you. Maybe even realizing, oh, I need to shift some things in my environment. I need to get into nature more. I need to have more crystals in my home. I need to have like, you know, more high vibe furniture or items, or minimalize my stuff. Things like that, I feel like, are a big focus for you from now until the end of the year, Cancer. So I feel like you'll be making a lot of trips to thrift stores to donate stuff and just clear out the old and bring in the new, is what it feels like for you, Cancer. So let me know how that resonates with you. Sending you love. And let's move on to Leo. That was a quick one, I felt like. Okay, so Leo, Mars retrograde will be in your 11th house of community and social media. South node's in your 4th house, where the new moon will be on the 25th in Scorpio. So there might be a lot of transformation or just change within your home. You might be moving or setting intentions around, okay, this is where I want to move. This is where I want to live next. Or similar to Cancer, what I was saying for Cancer is you were like changing the things about your home. You're bringing in new items. You're bringing in new clothes. You're bringing in like your private life, and your like where you're physically at, like your environment is really having a lot of new beginnings right now. You're really shedding the old, you're really bringing in the new. Like I just said for Cancer, I feel like a broken record almost, because it was like a similar message for them, is you're really asking yourself, like the whole like Marie Kondo thing. Is that her name? Marie Kondo? I think she's Japanese. She wrote The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, I think, if that's what it's called. I know I'm like second guessing my recall right now. But you're really minimalizing things in your home, or like I said, you're setting intentions around, okay, this is where I want to live next. This is the place I want it. This is how I want it to look like. This is how I want it to feel. Really going through a transformation like in your inner space. This might also be like apply to your like psyche, like your inner mind, your inner subconscious, wounds from childhood, family dynamics, things that you're really healing and shedding and letting go of. And like you're setting the intention, like, okay, I no longer want to live this way. I no longer want to have this like paradigm or belief or way of being be a part of my life. So you're setting intentions around changing and transforming it, right? Scorpio is all about transmutation, and how can we shift the old energy to make it something new and better than it was before. And that's happening for you in your area of home and family around this time, and will be a focus, like I said, of the next 6 months. Mars retrograde, like I said, is in your 11th house of your community, your outward community, as well as like your goals and your long-term visions for yourself. Like, how are you here to serve, Leo? Like, what is calling you to show up in service? Like, what is your what is your contribution to humanity? Like, what do you envision? What impact do you envision having? What ways do you want to inspire people? And how can you take action towards that, right? How can you communicate from that place of like, this is where I'm going. This is my mission. This is my vision. This is my goal. I don't care how things look right now. This is where I'm moving. And no matter how things look, it's getting me there. That's kind of what this Mars retrograde period will be about for you. That might show up in your friend groups, like the network that you're in. It might show up as well on your social media, like just changing who you follow or taking a break from social media to really like get more clear on your mission and your vision and spend more time cultivating that vision versus just like consuming other people's content and maybe getting stuck in like comparison mode. You're really stepping out of that. You're really like saying, okay, where I spend my time, where I put my energy is important. And if it's not getting me to my vision or my mission, like if it's not something that has a direct or indirect impact and adds up to my vision and my goal, then I need to cut it out of my life. And scrolling generally falls into that category. So that might be a focus for you at this time, Leo. You just had Pluto go direct in your 6th house. So you're also making changes to your health. This is a big focus for everyone, I feel like, making changes to your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, as well as like reassessing your relationship with spirituality or education. Maybe you've wanted to learn something new and now you're like, okay, I'll rethink that. Again, does it align with my higher vision? Does it align with my higher mission? And if not, cut it out. Like, it's really about asking yourself, like, is this getting me to where I want to go? Or do I feel like this is like just a stall or a procrastination, or like I should, like really cutting out all that fluff is what this time period is about for you, Leo. And that's what I have for you for Mars retrograde. Okay, Virgo. Man, doing these for all 12 signs is really like a lot. I don't understand how people do like 4-hour videos. They probably break them up, but doing it all in like one chunk. Oh my gosh, it's a lot of energy. Like, I love it, but it's like requires so much focus. So Virgo rising. This new moon in Scorpio will be in your 3rd house of communication. So you're setting intentions around your mental space, your friend group, your like belief systems are really going through a revamp. And like, okay, you're really starting to see like where you need to release old ways of communication to yourself or to others or both. And how the stories that you've been told, the stories that you've taken on as true, right, are affecting you and affecting like how you live your life and affecting your reality. And so this time, this new moon in Scorpio it's going to be like just a like, it's going to be shown to you. It's going to be revealed, like the last kind of things that need to change as it relates to your mental paradigms, right? The mental stories that you have on replay and your thought patterns. I saw a TikTok video the other day, and I feel like this is super relevant to what you're experiencing at this, or will be experiencing around this time, Virgo. Is she was talking about how she stopped negative thoughts in their tracks. Like every time a negative thought would come up, she would be like, oh, it's fine, it's gonna work out. Like, and she would kind of be like delusional, right? There's a lot of like content of people talking about being delusional and it like working amazing for them. And this woman was no exception. And I feel like this is kind of what you're realizing at this time too, Virgo. It's like really all about the way that you talk to yourself. It really all stems from your communication. And this woman was like, my whole life completely changed. I don't even have negative thoughts anymore. I can't even like get myself to think a negative thought, because every time one would come up, I would just shift it. I would be like if I was feeling sad, it would be like, oh, you're sad because you miss your mom. Like, it's okay to feel that way. Like, it's going to pass. And, of course you miss her because she was amazing. And like, instead of like being really like taken down by those emotions or taken down by those negative thoughts, she would just basically like parent herself and be like, you're feeling this way because of this, and it's okay. And like, it's all going to work out. Like, it's not going to last forever. And like, just like nurturing herself. And I thought that was really beautiful. And like, have been applying that to my own life of like, whatever thoughts come in that are like, oh, well, you don't know how this is going to happen, so it's not going to happen. And it's like, no, like it's in God's hands. Like, it's all going to work out. And according to the divine plan, like everything I need is on my pathway. Like, all that I desire require is here and more, like, because I'm supported by God and the universe. And so like, I've also started to notice like those thoughts become so much quieter, and like a lot of times don't even come in anymore in the same ways they used to, because I've just like over and over and over again taught myself to think a different way. And so that's a really big focus for you, Virgo. I'm going to take, oh gosh, it's hot, like being in the sun, of the next 6 months. Okay, so Mars retrograde will be in your 10th house of career, of your public reputation. So you've probably taken a lot of action towards something new in your career, or moving in a new direction in what you're doing in your career, or how you want to be known to the world, right? And so that's going to go through a little bit of a reassessment, of like a slowdown of like, okay, is this really what I want to be doing? Can I make a little bit of like refinement to it? As Virgo rising, you are wonderful at refining and editing your life to make things better. Virgo, the perfect like word for Virgo that I'd love to use is refinement, because you all like know how to just do something and then make it better, like through refining. And then it's like fucking amazing and perfect over time, because you constantly were like reevaluating and refining it and making those small incremental changes that added up to be big things over time. So that's happening for you right now, Virgo, in your career, in your reputation, which is probably directly impacting your financial picture, especially while Mercury's in Libra, because Gemini rules your 10th house, Mercury rules your 10th house, and Mercury is in Libra in your 2nd house. So there's probably a lot of money coming in for you right now, and there probably will continue to be. And this will also have you just reevaluating, okay, is this the way I really want to be making money? Is this what I want to be offering or selling to my clients, or what I'm doing in my career? And really using what you experience on the external as like feedback to refine things to be better than they are, right? That's a really big just energy. And what's the word I want to use? Lesson for you at this time. And also how you can bring more creativity and more fun and more joyfulness, more playfulness into what you're doing is a big focus as well. Yeah. And how you can like cultivate a greater work-life balance through all that as well, and not overwork yourself, because you guys are pretty good at that. But sometimes it's at your detriment. So just be careful and aware of not overworking and not overextending yourself when you don't have the energy for it. And this is where using your human design comes in, right? Because human design tells us how to utilize our energy in the best way that's in alignment for you as an individual. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Virgo. Let's move on to Libra. Libra. Okay, this new moon will be in your 2nd house of money, material possessions, and resources. So setting intentions around how you want to bring in more money, and probably transforming and transmuting the relationship that you've had with money, really stepping into trust and faith that as long as you're pursuing your passions and you're doing what you love and you're following your strategy and authority, right? You're listening to your inner guidance system and you're following it, the money is always going to be there. You're always going to be supported. And that's really what this new phase is going to be about, starting with the new moon in Scorpio on the 25th. There will be a new 6-month cycle that begins where you're like taking this more seriously. You're taking your self-sufficiency, your independence, your ability to cultivate, create, and have money more seriously, maybe paying off debts, saving more, or just bringing in money in a way that's like, it feels better and it feels more supportive. And also spending money on things that feel supportive, feel good, not just wasting it on things that you don't really enjoy just to like have something. Or I don't even know where I was going with that, but just like really being intentional with the ways that you're spending money, as well as how you're creating it, is a big focus for you, Libra. Scorpio, I don't know why I said Scorpio. Pluto just went direct in your 4th house. So there might be some things that changes that you wanted to make to your home that's starting to take place, or healing in your home or your family, or both. Mars retrograde will be taking place in your 9th house. So maybe you wanted to like, you had all these travel plans, or you had all these ideas for where you wanted to travel to and things you wanted to learn about and experience. And Mars going retrograde is like, okay, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to spend my energy like on a 24-hour flight just to have like a week-long experience, and I'm going to miss home on the second day, kind of like that energy. Take it as it resonates as always, but it's like, you're really starting to see what's of value to you and what you really want to be putting your energy towards, and what you want to be creating with how you're speaking about things, and where you're spending your energy, and how that's creating the things that you want. I feel like you guys too will be re-evaluating like your relationship with spirituality, as well as your relationship with travel, your relationship with taking long trips, your relationship with what, like, following a path of learning or higher education, and like reevaluating the ways you want to learn and cultivate wisdom from your experiences. It's like your whole viewpoint of experiences, and what experience means to you, and what experiences you want to have to cultivate that wisdom has kind of changed. Whereas like, and this is speaking for myself because I'm a Libra rising, and this is kind of how it's showing up for me. It's like, and obviously this hasn't really like happened yet, because this transit doesn't take place for 2 more weeks, but it's like, this summer I started to feel like the Mars and Gemini energy, and I started to feel like, oh, I want to travel to Greece, I want to travel to India, I want to travel to all these places. And then I met some people that were like, yeah, I spent my early 20s traveling, and I realized like it just takes a lot of energy. It takes a toll on you. Like, it's fun and it's like great to have all these experiences, but it's also like, is that where I really want to be spending my energy and spending my time and spending my resources, right? Because it requires a lot of resources, like money, to travel, and to not only like energy from yourself, but energy from your bank account. Like, it requires a lot of energy and resources to bounce around. And yes, it's for some people, but for me, I think it was just like, I was comparing myself to other people I've seen that do that, and like, oh, that, like, idealizing it, and like, oh, that looks so nice, like to just like travel everywhere. But like, I lived in Hawaii for a year, and I kind of did that there, and it was stressful. Like, it was so stressful to always be like, okay, where am I going next? Do I have a car? Like, how am I going to get around? I have to fit everything I own and everything I've bought since I've been here into these 2 suitcases. It's just like this whole stressful thing. And I'm really reevaluating my relationship with my desire to travel in the ways that I have in the past. So that's kind of like an example. But the 9th house represents a lot of things. This can also mean you're reevaluating you're getting a degree, your education, your relationship with spirituality, your meditation practice, chanting, yoga, any of those things also fall into the umbrella of the 9th house. So if you're a Libra rising, all of those, or one of those things, or more than one of those things, could be going through a revamp as well. But it's really about like, what do you want to spend your energy doing? What do you want to spend your time on? What do you want to take action towards, right? And what is of benefit to you, short-term and long-term, versus what is just kind of like a drain, or not really of the value that you are really cultivating right now. Because of the new moon in Scorpio in the 2nd house, it's also like, okay, what experiences do you value having? Is it really about traveling, or is it just fun to meet people and like go new places? Because you can do that where you're at right now, right? You can go to a new town or travel like an hour away from you to like a tourist destination or whatever, you know, like there's so many other ways to do that versus like taking a 15-hour flight halfway across the world, you know. And I think we're all kind of learning that right now as I think the flight prices are still pretty sky high. They're not as cheap as they used to be. I think as a collective, we're all kind of learning that like, oh yeah, we can road trip. We can take these short trips, which is very Gemini energy. Sagittarius is the one that wants to go across the world, right? But Gemini is like, let's keep it close to home. Like, let's keep it closer to where I live and where my community is and where my errands are that I run, right? So that's kind of like the energy that is coming up for a lot of people at this time, but more specifically for you, Libra, because this is in your 9th house of international travel. It's like, is that really what I want to do? Or do I just really want to have like a multitude of fun experiences? And I can also do that where I'm at. So it also feels like at the end of October, Libra, if you guys are not in a relationship, if those of you that are single might meet someone at the end of October or towards the end of the year, as Jupiter goes direct in your 7th house. Or Jupiter leaves your 7th house. Just wanted to throw that in there for those of you, because I think someone had asked me. So yeah, that's what I have for you, Libra. All right, Scorpio, new moon in your 1st house. All about you, Scorpio. It's all about what ways of being have you been letting go of, releasing, how has that impacted your appearance as well? Like, are you changing up your appearance? Are you getting a new outfit, a new wardrobe, a new hair look, you know, getting new glasses, like changing things in your physical appearance that affect your sense of self, that affect the way you view yourself, which is what the 1st house is all about. It's all about you, your identity, your sense of self, your personality, the way you express yourself to the world, right? That is all going through a revamp and starting anew with this new moon in Scorpio partial eclipse at the end of October on the 25th. Mars will be retrograding in your 8th house of transformation. So there's a lot that you all are transforming right now. It might be exhausting. You might be physically tired, more tired than normal. You might be feeling like you need to sleep a lot more than normal. Like you just don't have the energy to do the same amount of things that you used to. You don't have the energy to like drink 3 shots of espresso and like power through. You're like, no, I'm gonna do what I have the energy for, and then I'm gonna stop. Like, I'm not gonna force myself to overdo things. That's kind of what I'm feeling in your energy, Scorpio, that you're stepping into at this time, and will be a focus for you towards the end of the year. Well, as we end the year, really, of how do you want to be spending your time and your energy? How do you want to be expressing yourself? What is the sense of self and the identity of like who you are and who you be and how you show that to the world? Like, what is that you've been cultivating, and how are you stepping into that? Because this is going to be a time that really shows you clearly what needs to go. Like what you need to let go of. The South Node's in your 1st house. You need to release all of this shit that's not you, that maybe came from past lives, maybe came from past relationships, maybe came from traumatic events in this life. You know, it's time to let that all go and really step into a new version of yourself, because this transit isn't going to happen again for 20 years. Okay. So this is like a once in a lifetime. I mean, it's all once in a lifetime. Transits never repeat themselves in the same way that they do whenever they happen, right? But this is like you putting you first and really getting clear on what that looks like. And maybe at the other end of the spectrum, releasing some self-absorbed behavior or selfish behavior, and like maybe releasing avoidance of people, because the North Node is in your 7th house. Relationships are a focus for you at this time as well, and how to balance your sense of self within your relationships. But if you've been on the other end of that spectrum and like avoided relationships, this time is teaching you what you need to let go of so that you can have more harmonious relationships, and that you can have more relationships that support your way of being that you're moving into, as opposed to keep you comfortable and keep you stuck in the same patterns that weren't really serving you in the first place, or your relationships, and maybe cause that fear of entering relationships or having close connections with people. It's about releasing that right now. It's about allowing this reframe to happen and allowing it to move you forward in a new direction, in new relationships, and really just new ways of interacting with people in a completely new way of being. Let me know how this resonates with you, Scorpio. I'd love to hear, because it sounds like a very vague message, but I know, again, this is going to impact each of you differently on an individual level, depending on what else is in your chart in these areas, right? In these houses. But I feel like that's the overall energy and overall lesson for you right now, Scorpio, is like how to have deeper, more intimate, more vulnerable connections with people that really support you and really give back to you in the ways that you need, versus just like take and take and take and take and take. And then you're like giving, and you're exhausted and you hate the fact that you're in a relationship, or you hate the fact that your friends are who they are. You know, it's like those people aren't right for you. And now is the time to get clear on that and let them go, so that you can bring in the people that are meant for you and that do support you and do empower you. I feel like that noise was like confirmation, me just hitting that in my glass of water. And like I said, Mars and retrograde Scorpio will be a big reevaluation of that, a reevaluation of the levels of intimacy you're allowing your relationships to have, as well as reevaluating your maybe other people's resources and how you've been allowing yourself to be supported, maybe financially or through the resources of other people. That's going through an evaluation during this time as well, of like, okay, I really love having this support, but I also maybe want to create something of my own, or I don't, maybe paying off debt. Like there's a lot of ways this could express itself based on your individual chart, but just know that this Mars retrograde will be impacting other people's resources in your life, your relationship with debt, your relationship with other people's resources, your relationship with intimacy and vulnerability, and how you're allowing those things to support your transformation. And more specifically, like how you're allowing your intimate and vulnerable relationships to support your inner transformation. Like big potential for a glow up at this time is what I feel that will really fully manifest around the full moon in Scorpio when we get into Taurus season next year. Okay, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Let's move into Sag. So Sagittarius, new moon in Scorpio in your 12th house of spirituality, of past life karma, of what's hidden, your mental health as well. So that's going through a revamp. It's like, I feel like Sagittarius, you're learning how, like what you need to protect yourself from outside influences and outside forces, maybe like getting more crystals, getting more things in your home that block EMF, getting more things that just like really support your well-being, that support your mental and your physical health, because they are so deeply tied together, especially for you right now with the nodes being in your 6th and 12th houses. That's like a big focus for you during this time, is how to really put more energy and intention into supporting the health of your physical and mental bodies, spiritual and emotional bodies as well. So this new moon in Scorpio will really be a setting intentions and a new beginning around how you want to support your mental and physical well-being and what practices you need in order to do that. Maybe also healing from just like some past life karma or past life trauma, or this life trauma that was related to past lives, you know, something like that could come up around this time as well. It might be intense, but just know that it is coming up to be healed and released, and we have to feel the intensity of emotions, energy and motion through our body before they can really be released and let go of. Like we have to put ourselves into those intense places to really heal and release. And it never lasts forever. The more you allow yourself to go there, the deeper you allow yourself to feel that intensity, the faster it will heal and release. Mars retrograde will be taking place in your 7th house of relationships. 7th house. I feel like I just said that weird. I don't know why. Maybe I said it fine, but some weird energy today. Let me tell y'all. I don't know what it is, but something about today just feels a little weird and off. Mars retrograde in your 7th house, Sagittarius. is going to be a reevaluation of your relationships. Maybe you started dating and you met someone. This is going to be like, okay, that moved really quickly and I was really excited. Let's slow this down a little bit and just reevaluate things and just kind of like reassess, like, you know, now that it's been some time since we like met or whatever, started dating, like I really become more clear on how this shows up, the energy of this, as opposed to just like how things look and the excitement of it, right? It's almost like the honeymoon phase of like this person you're dating is like fading, and you'll really just start to see more clearly like who they are, what their intentions are, and what the energy is of the dynamic, and getting more clarity around, okay, is this really what I thought it was at the beginning, or was I just like really excited? And that kind of clouded my judgment a little bit. It feels like is going to be a theme for you, Sagittarius, moving into the end of this year, starting with October 30th when Mars goes retrograde. It might cause a little bit of instability in your relationships. It might cause a little bit of like instability in your health or your emotions. It might feel a little bit like unexpected and sudden and chaotic too. So just know that this is coming, and if it happens, it's all meant to be, right? Transits are really just like teachers, and they have different lessons to teach us at different times. So right now you're learning a lot about your relationships. You're learning a lot about what you want a relationship to look like, your friendships as well, or partnerships. Anything that you're entering into or doing with someone else is going to be going through a reevaluation and like a slowdown so that you can get more clarity around if it's really in alignment for you or not. And that is like invaluable. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. Capricorn. Let's see. So Mars will be going retrograde in your 6th house. It feels like, again, there's just a lot of collective themes of health, the health of our physical bodies. Like, are you eating things that make you feel healthy? Are you doing things in your day-to-day that make you feel healthy? Are you going for walks every day? Are you working out? Are you doing yoga? Are you really taking care of the health of your physical body? Is a big focus for you, Capricorn. That is because of Mars going retrograde in your 6th house of work, job, the work that you do for money, as well as like your physical health, the health of your physical body and your well-being of your physical body. Maybe reassessing your routine as well, like your schedule, like how you have your life scheduled out, and scheduling more time to maybe check in with yourself, check in with your feelings and how your physical body actually feels, versus just waking up and just starting your day like right out of bed. It's like, no, you're going to start to slow down a little bit more and journal maybe a little bit more, or just like really have this time and cultivate this time and make this a part of your daily practice to check in with yourself and check in with your body. Then the new moon in Scorpio will be in your 11th house of long-term goals, visions, friendships, community, social media. So you're really starting anew, maybe with your relationship with social media, or cultivating a new vision or mission that feels more in alignment than what you had as a vision or a mission in the past. It's like you've gotten a lot of clarity these past months and year of like what you want to do, how you want to move into your vision, and what your mission actually is, right? So you can like take action steps towards moving in that direction. It feels like that is like going to be a major focus, and it's like, okay, I've gotten all this clarity. I've tried some things, I've done some things, I've like released old ways of being, I've released these old thought patterns, these loops, these belief systems around like my mission and like that vision that I've cultivated, right? And now I want to make a little bit of slight adjustments or changes to that vision, that mission, that are more in alignment with my values, more in alignment with the changes I've been making, right? And the ways of being that I've been stepping into, is what it feels like for you, Capricorn. So that's going to be a big focus over the next 6 months. And this area of your life is like, okay, what new beginning do you want to have? What intentions do you want to set? What seeds do you want to plant here in terms of like your vision and your mission and like where you're headed, like your dreams, your goals, like what are those for yourself, and how can you start taking action towards those and like transform all the stuff that's maybe left over from your life before you got clear on what this is, so that you can move in this direction. And then like I've circled down here, Mars will be retrograde in your 6th house, like I said. So reassessing your relationship with your routine, your health, maybe starting a supplement regimen or starting a workout regimen, or just getting more clear on like, what do I actually want to do as a job? What do I actually want to do with work? Like to make money? Like, is that what I want as my career? Or do I just want to have this kind of thing that supports me, but it's not like my dream, it's not my mission, it's not my vision, but the thing that I'm doing right now is going to get me there eventually, kind of energy is what it feels like for you, Capricorn. And then Pluto just went direct in your first house. So you're really like becoming integrated and embodied in the ways of being that you've been making changes around, the internal reflections that you've really had as a focus for the last 6 months. Those are now becoming more integrated. They're now becoming like externalized and more a part of like who you actually are. And you really started to step into that as opposed to just kind of thinking about it or, you know, being introspective about it. Now it's like you're stepping into it. It's like, it's actually like here to live by, if that makes sense. Let me know how this resonates with you, Capricorn. I would love to hear from you guys. Okay, that's all I have for you guys. Oh, also something that wants to come through is spending more time pursuing your creative ventures, pursuing your passions. Like, what do you really like just love to do that you feel like you could like talk about forever? Like having that be more of a focus for you at this time as well. Okay, Capricorns, that's what I got for you for Mars retrograde. Let's move into Aquarius. So Aquarius, this new moon in Scorpio will be in your 10th house of career and public reputation. Mars retrograde will be occurring in your 5th house of passion, of creativity, of the inner child. So right now, Aquarius, you're really getting clarity on what you have been doing in your career and if that's still really working for you, or if you want to take it in a new direction. With Scorpio ruling your 10th house, it's like you kind of have, your life kind of has the energy of not doing one thing forever. It's like your career will constantly be evolving and will constantly be transforming as you do. And so with this new moon, it's like getting clarity around what you want that to look like moving forward, so that you can like really make that change and take that action towards your transformation in this part of your life. Your home, your family might also be reflecting these changes to you, of maybe, you know, you were doing what you wanted to do, but it really didn't support like how the relationship you want to have with your family or in your home. And so it's like, okay, well, I want to be home more. I want to be around my family more. What can I do that's not as labor intensive? That's not as like me spending hours and hours away from my home and away from my family. It feels like you're just going to be more like, you're going to get a lot of intuitive downloads, it feels, on like what to do next. And so it's important for you to trust that and like maybe sit with yourself in meditation and like ask those kind of questions, like, and also consult your human design, consult your own astrology as well, because that's going to give you a lot of insight into what's next for you and into like how you can take action steps towards what's next for you by following your strategy of authority, right? And looking at what is going on for you right now in the transits that's impacting you on an individual level, and how you can maybe move forward with that and share that in your career, if that's something you feel called to do. Could also be maybe you're pursuing more of the occult or the taboo in your career and starting to share more about intuition and psychic abilities, and maybe even astrology or human design, things that are like occult, right? Things that are new age spirituality like you're bringing that more into your career around the time of this new moon is what will feel like it is a focus. And it might take 6 months, right? It might take that 6-month cycle to fully evolve and to fully reach that point where it's like, okay, now I'm doing this, now I'm moving forward, where it's like around this new moon, you're just kind of getting the ideas, starting to brainstorm, starting to be like, okay, I know I want to move in a new direction. Like, what would that look like? What are some ideas? And just kind of, it feels like you'll just be like tuning into what that is and maybe planting the seeds around it actually happening sometime in the near future. Mars and Gemini will be retrograde in your 5th house, like I said. So reevaluating your relationship with your inner child, with your passions, with your creativity, and probably bringing that more into your career as well, bringing that more into what you're doing and having more fun and more playful energy around just your day-to-day and what you're doing and how you're expressing your energy, how you're showing up, your communication, your thought patterns, right? It's all about this time of restoration is coming through. Restoration and transformation, Aquarius. It's all a big focus for you right now, is like how to really transform what you've been doing at a core level and how that's affecting everything else in your life, right? It's like this, it's almost like I see this like root and it like rippling out to everything else. It's like, this is the root, is like, are you doing what you as a child wanted to do? Are you bringing your passion and your joy and your creativity and your just love of life into what you're doing? And if not, there's a real opportunity for you to start doing that right now, Aquarius. And really, as starting 2023 with this energy of like bringing this into your life in a bigger and more impactful way to not only yourself, but to the people that you do impact in your everyday life and in your career. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. Let's move into Pisces. Okay, Pisces rising, last but not least, Mars retrograde will be taking place in your 4th house of home and family, and the new moon in Scorpio will be taking place in your 9th house. So maybe you guys are pursuing or wanting to pursue a new form of education, wanting to establish a new relationship, or just be more diligent with your spiritual practice, like meditation or yoga or chanting, or Reiki, learning how to like heal yourself with these arts and these modalities that connect us greater to spirituality. Feels like is a big focus for you at the end of October, and most of Scorpio season 2 will be like, okay, what is my relationship with spirituality? What kind of wisdom do I want to cultivate in this area of my life? And how can I move forward with that? You might also be setting intentions around wanting to travel, wanting to see more of your surroundings or see more of the world, and really cultivate wisdom through experiences. Like, I feel like you all are just craving experiences right now and craving like getting out of where you have been to experience new things that is going to teach you a lot about yourself and how you want to move forward. And I feel too, it will cultivate a greater connection with your intuition, with your own inner guidance system, with your higher self, with your intentions, with your goals, and with the ways of being you want to move forward, Pisces. I feel like you guys are really going through an intense spiritual awakening right now, Pisces. And so there's some need to ground that energy in, maybe get into nature more, maybe practice, a grounding meditation every day and night, or just have something that really, like putting your feet on the ground, like in grass, something that really helps you to ground, because right now there's a huge potential to just kind of like get caught up in the spiritual stuff and maybe feel a little overwhelmed by that and forget your connection to the earth. So that's an important focus of this time right now as well for you Pisces risings. Some of you might be moving, some of you might be leaving home or moving back in with family, or like just setting intentions around or reevaluating where you already live in your environment and how you want maybe that to look differently in the future, starting next year or like middle of next year. Or maybe just making some changes to how your home looks, redecorating, getting rid of old things, minimalizing. That is also something that could be a focus for you during this Mars retrograde, as it is occurring, like I said, in your 4th house of home and family. Maybe also too, like getting some deep healing work done on related to past life karma, related to just your subconscious, deep psyche, wounds that are held in your deep psyche. Maybe you've been studying your Chiron a lot and how to heal using your Chiron placement, and what kind of support you need for that. Maybe past life regression, maybe somatic therapy, maybe more massages, maybe just more things that help you to heal the things that are stored in your body, right? Because our body is our subconscious. Like, our body stores everything, and if we didn't really process what happened to us, it can manifest as illness or dis-ease, right? That's what dis-ease is. It's dis-ease in the physical body. So it feels like the last 3 months of 2022, Pisces, will be a focus on like healing your subconscious, healing from things that maybe you didn't realize affected you as much as they really have. And now they're showing up in your life as like, oh, okay, damn, I really gotta like, go there again and release that and heal that so that it doesn't keep showing up in the same way. I didn't realize it affected me so much. That kind of thing feels like it's happening for you all right now. A lot of mental stuff too, like a lot of mental healing, like I said, subconscious healing, belief system healing, reframing your mindset, practicing mindfulness, maybe meditation as well, which I believe I already mentioned a few times. So it just feels like there's just this big revamp energy in terms of your connection to really the way that you're balancing your connection to the spiritual and the physical is what it feels like for you, Pisces rising. So I hope that resonated. Let me know how it did in the comments. This was so fun. So thank you all for watching, being here, or listening on the podcast. I'm going to check the comments and then wait, how do I even get to where I'm live? Oh my gosh, there are a lot of comments. Hey, Rebecca. Hi, the Void. Oh, Virgo Rising. Blissness. Hey, Zach Lion. Amazing. Yes, the Void. Mars will go retrograde in the Uranus decade. Getting more of exploring different perspectives, specifically ideas. Ooh, yeah, and how those lessons can be applied to outweigh days. Yeah. I mean, it really goes to show like the connection between the third house and the ninth house, right? Because the third house is like our inner mental space, our inner perceptions, our inner beliefs, and how our inner perceptions, right, are creating our reality. And then we see the externalization of that in the ninth house. So you're onto something with that. I love it. How it relates to self-worth. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. This was so fun. I'm glad it resonated with you and just provided more insights. Like, I'm not the end all be all. So like consult your intuition, consult your chart and what your intuition is telling you about what this time will be for you, right? That's like my mission, is not to be the person that's like, this is how it's gonna be. Like, no, like I want you to use, I keep hitting the freaking mic. I want you to use what I create as a way to take you deeper into your understanding of yourself and what these transits are really bringing up for you and how that's showing up for you and how you can integrate it. And, it's like, I'm guiding you to it, but I'm not the end all be all. So always trust your intuition. That's really what astrology and human design helps us to cultivate, I feel, is a greater relationship with our intuition, a greater relationship with our own knowing. It's like and it's so funny. I like saw this, when I did ayahuasca, which I have a whole podcast episode about on my old podcast, Driven by Plants. I shared my experience and my journey with ayahuasca and what was shown to me and what was healed in me also, because there's so much to it. But anyways, what I saw was that like astrology, and I wasn't really into human design at the time as much as I am now. Like it's really become like my religion over the past 2 years. Like I have every single day like lived and researched human design and devoted my life to it. But this was my journey, was before that. And so it was mostly like around astrology, and that astrology helps us bridge the gap between where we came from, right? The spiritual realm, our home, source, universe, energy, whatever you want to call it, God, and our physical reality here on earth. Like, and that's what I really see as how to use astrology and human design, and what the tools are really for is a way to bridge the gap, a way to connect greater to our own inner knowing and our own soul. It's not like, I feel like so many people, and it's so easy to do this, like to make it the end all be all. Oh, my astrology says this, so I had to do this. My human design says this. Does it feel good to you? Like, what is your intuition telling you? Because that's the end all be all. It's not these systems. These systems are just a way to help you connect with yourself, but they're not the end all be all. They're not the answer. They're a way to connect to yourself, and a way to connect and strengthen your relationship to your soul, your intuition, your higher self, and where we came from. That's really how I see these systems, and what I use them for is not the end all be all, but it's just like a way to understand why things happen at certain times on this physical plane that we live on, to evolve and grow my soul, and to also help me connect more with my soul and connect more with my inner knowing. That was like a whole rant, but so thanks for inspiring that, the void. It's all good. No, your opinions are always welcome here. I pride myself on never being offended by anything. Like, if I am offended, it's because I chose to be offended, which I don't choose to be offended. Like, so yeah, share your piece, share your opinion. I want to hear. I want to have, this is what this is about too. It's like having a conversation. It's not just, I'm just not the, like, again, I'm not the end all be all of like, this is what it means and this is what it is for you and that's it. Like, no, like, what did this bring up? What did this inspire in you? And what do you feel like you have to contribute to the conversation? This is a conversation. It's not just me on my high horse being like, this is how it is. So that's me. That's how I do things. And I appreciate you for bringing yourself to this. Awesome. This is fun. How long was I don't know how long I was on here, but this was fun. I appreciate you guys. This will also be posted on my podcast, which I just posted a little snippet, new episode of my podcast. If you're a listener there, go check it out. But I'm everywhere. So go check out my TikTok. I just hit 40,000 on TikTok and I have a lot of great content over there on TikTok. So if you want to keep learning from me and be in my vibe and my energy, TikTok is like the place that I'm at most of the time these days. And YouTube as well. I love YouTube, but yeah, I appreciate you all, as I've said like 400 times already. And I will see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your October. Much love. Bye.